Hello friends, welcome to my kitchen. Let's start by grating 10 ounces or 300 grams of potatoes. I always think of potatoes as one of those humble, comforting foods that never let us down. They're not only hearty and filling, but also rich in potassium and vitamin C, which help keep our heart strong and our immune system steady. Transfer the grated potatoes into a bowl. Sprinkle with 2 teaspoons of salt. And mix gently with your hand. I always like to mix with my hand. It helps me feel the texture and make sure everything is seasoned evenly. Let the potatoes rest for a few minutes so the extra liquid can come out. While the potatoes are resting, let's do the same with zucchini. Grate 1 small zucchini. Every time I cook with zucchini, I remember summer gardens. The way the vines spread wide and the vegetables seem to grow almost overnight. My grandmother used to pick them fresh in the morning, and by lunch they were already on the table. Place it in another bowl. Add 2 teaspoons of salt. Mix it well with your hand. Let it sit, just like we did with the potatoes. Friends, it's wonderful to know where you're watching from. Share your city and country, and US friends, tell me your state as well. Now go back to the potatoes. Take a handful at a time and squeeze out the liquid really well. Then place the dry potato into a clean bowl. Feel free to ask any questions about the recipe in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I see them. Do the same with the zucchini, but this time add it directly to the bowl with the potatoes. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking it. It's a simple way to show your support. Next, grate 1 carrot. Carrots bring such a lovely sweetness and bright, cheerful color to the dish. They're packed with beta-carotene, which helps keep our eyes strong and healthy. As I grate it, I always think of my childhood. Now, add the carrot to the mixture with the potatoes and zucchini. Then cut 1 bell pepper into thin strips. I love how bright and colorful bell peppers are. They always remind me of summer markets, full of baskets overflowing with red, yellow, and green. They're not only beautiful, but also rich in vitamin C, even more than citrus fruits, which helps keep our immune system strong. Friends, for more content like this, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss any new recipes. Add it to the bowl. Now, finely chop a bunch of parsley. Parsley isn't just a pretty green touch. It's packed with vitamin K for strong bones, vitamin C for immunity, and antioxidants that help protect our health every day. It brightens the flavors of the dish and adds that fresh garden aroma that always makes food taste more alive. Add it to the bowl as well. Now break in 3 eggs. Eggs help bind the vegetables together and give structure to the dish. Add 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 3 tablespoons of flour. Mix everything very well. If your eggs are at room temperature, the mixing will be smoother. Don't rush here. Mixing well ensures the flavors are spread evenly. Take a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Drizzle a little olive oil right onto the paper. Using a brush, spread the oil evenly across the surface. This way, our baskets won't stick, and the vegetables will bake with a gentle golden crust. Now, take portions of the vegetable mixture and place them on the prepared tray, just like I show in the video. Shape each portion into a small round and form a little hollow in the center, as you can see me doing. This is where our filling will go later. They look like tiny nests ready to be filled. Bake these baskets in a preheated oven at 360 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. While the baskets bake, heat a frying pan with a little olive oil. Finely chop 1 white onion. Onions may seem simple, but they're full of antioxidants that protect our body and support heart health. And when you cook them slowly, they soften and turn beautifully golden, releasing that gentle sweetness that makes a kitchen smell like home. I always remember the sound of onions sizzling in my mother's pan. It was the first sign that something delicious was on its way. Sauté until golden and fragrant. Now, cut 10 ounces or 300 grams of chicken breast into thin strips. Take your time with this step. A sharp knife makes the work easier and keeps the pieces neat. As I cut, I always think about how chicken breast is such a versatile ingredient. It's lean, tender, and packed with protein that helps keep us strong and full of energy. Then cut it into small cubes. This size cooks quickly and evenly. Add the chicken to the pan with the onion. Sauté for 2 to 3 minutes, just until it starts to turn white. Now season with 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Mix well so the spices coat the chicken. Next, grate 1 fresh tomato. It will give our chicken filling a light sauce and a gentle tang, keeping everything juicy and flavorful. I always love this step. The smell of freshly grated tomato reminds me of late summer, when the garden was full of ripe, sun-warmed tomatoes that we picked right before lunch. Add the tomato to the pan and let it blend with the chicken and onion, bringing all the flavors together. Then take it off the heat. By this time, your vegetable baskets should be ready. Take them out of the oven and carefully spoon the chicken mixture into each hollow. Press it down lightly so the filling settles in. Now grate 5 ounces or 150 grams of soft cheese. Mozzarella or any mild melting cheese works beautifully. Sprinkle the cheese generously over the baskets. Return them to the oven and bake for another 20 minutes at 320 degrees Fahrenheit or 160 degrees Celsius. While the baskets finish baking, grate 1 small cucumber on a mini grater and place it into a bowl. Add half a cup or 100 grams of sour cream. half a teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of salt. Mix well. This cool, creamy sauce balances the richness of the cheese and chicken perfectly. Now take out the golden baskets from the oven. They look beautiful and smell so inviting. The roasted vegetables, the tender chicken, and the melted cheese all coming together. Place a couple of baskets on a plate. Finally, add a generous spoonful of the refreshing cucumber sour cream sauce. And there you have it, a dish full of flavor, health, and love, perfect for family dinners. I hope this recipe brings warmth to your home, just like it does to mine. But that's not all. I've a second equally delicious recipe for you. Start by placing a piece of beef on your cutting board. Trim away any tough membrane or natural casing, so you're left with just the clean, tender center. We'll be using the center part of the loin. Aim for a cut that's about 2 pounds, or roughly 1 to 1.2 kilograms. Today, we're making something cozy and rich. A dish full of deep savory flavor and that kind of melt-in-your-mouth texture that just feels like home. Then, use paper towels to dry the beef. This may seem like a small step, but it's important. A dry surface helps the marinade cling better and gives us a beautiful crust later on. Now, transfer the beef to a deep baking dish. Drizzle over 1 to 1.5 ounces, or about 30 to 50 milliliters of soy sauce. Then add about 15 milliliters of olive oil to keep everything juicy and tender. Sprinkle with salt and black pepper to taste. Don't hold back here. Good seasoning makes all the difference. Use your hands to gently massage the beef, making sure every inch is coated with that flavorful marinade. Take your time with this. The more love you put in now, the better it tastes later. Once the beef is well coated, set a frying pan over medium-high heat and pour in a little olive oil. When the pan is nice and hot, carefully sear the beef for about 1 minute on each of the 4 sides. That sound, the sizzle, is exactly what you want. This quick sear locks in all the juices and gives the meat that irresistible golden crust. Once it's beautifully seared, place the beef in the fridge to rest while we prep the next part. Now let's turn to the mushrooms. You'll need about 2 pounds or 1 kilogram. Cut them into quarters. Smaller pieces blend more easily and evenly later on. You can use any variety you like, but regular white mushrooms work wonderfully here. Pop the chopped mushrooms into a blender, or if you have a meat grinder, that works just as well. Blend until you get a thick, paste-like consistency, something similar to a pâté. This smooth texture will help the mushrooms melt into the dish and bring that deep, earthy flavor we're after. Set a dry frying pan over medium heat and add in the mushroom paste. No oil needed here. We're cooking them dry so they release all their natural moisture and deepen in flavor. Let them cook for about 5 to 7 minutes, stirring every so often to keep them from sticking or browning too quickly. At this stage, skip the seasoning, no salt or pepper just yet. You'll notice the mushrooms start to shrink and release their liquid. That's exactly what we want. As the moisture cooks off, the flavor becomes more concentrated, turning soft and earthy, almost meaty. Keep gently stirring until the mixture thickens and dries out a bit. This step is key to building depth of flavor, so be patient. It's worth the few extra minutes. Once they're ready, transfer the mushrooms to a bowl and let them cool for a few minutes. When slightly cooled, season with 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Give everything a good stir, making sure the seasoning is evenly worked in. Set the bowl aside for now. Now let's get started on the next layer, the one that holds it all together and locks in moisture. Lay a sheet of plastic wrap on your cutting board, then start arranging strips of bacon over it, letting each one slightly overlap the next. Take your time here. Neatness matters. This bacon layer will act as a flavorful wrapper, sealing everything in and basting the beef from the outside as it roasts. Make sure the bacon covers a surface large enough to wrap around the beef later. It's not just for structure, it adds smoky, salty richness to every bite and keeps the roast moist and tender while baking. Spread the cooled mushroom mixture evenly over the bacon layer. Take your time with this. Smooth it out gently with a spoon or spatula, making sure every inch is covered. This layer will bring moisture, flavor, and a wonderfully earthy depth to the dish. So don't leave any gaps. A consistent, even spread will ensure everything cooks together beautifully later. Next, sprinkle a handful of dried porcini mushrooms over the mushroom layer. These will infuse the roll with even more umami and complexity, adding that subtle, woodsy aroma that really elevates the dish. It's a small step, but it brings such incredible depth. Now take the rested beef out of the fridge. Using a brush or the back of a spoon, lightly coat it with a thin layer of mustard. Don't go overboard, just enough to create a tangy base that will enhance the flavor of the meat as it roasts. Then brush on a bit of oyster sauce over the mustard. This adds a luxurious, savory note that complements both the beef and the mushrooms perfectly. Gently spread it all around until the meat is evenly coated. Carefully place the beef in the center of the mushroom and bacon layers. Now comes the most satisfying part, the roll. Using the plastic wrap as a guide, Gently roll the bacon and mushroom layer around the beef, keeping it snug but not too tight. The goal is to fully encase the beef, so there are no gaps or seams. Once rolled, twist the ends of the plastic wrap like a candy wrapper and place the whole thing back in the fridge to chill and firm up. While the beef roll is chilling, prepare your work surface. Lightly dust it with flour to prevent sticking. Take your pastry dough and roll it out to about 1/8 inch or 3 millimeters thick. If you don't have a rolling pin, your hands will do just fine. Just stretch the dough gently and evenly until you reach the right size. You want the dough to be large enough to completely wrap the beef roll with a bit of overlap. Now, take the beef roll from the fridge and place it in the center of the dough. Fold the dough over the beef, wrapping it up like a gift. Seal the edges by pressing them gently together. You can pinch or fold a seam underneath to keep it neat and secure. The dough should hug the beef tightly enough to hold everything together, but not so tight that it bursts open in the oven. Next, crack 1 egg into a bowl. Add 1 tablespoon of milk. Whisk it until the mixture is smooth and slightly frothy. This will be our glaze. It's a simple step, but it makes all the difference, giving our pastry that irresistible golden sheen and delicate crisp on top. Now, using a sharp knife, gently score the surface of the dough with shallow cuts, just like you see in the video. These aren't just for decoration. They help the pastry puff up beautifully, allow steam to escape, and give the finished dish that homemade rustic charm. Brush the entire surface with the egg wash, making sure to get into the little cuts. This glaze gives the pastry a glossy finish and helps lock in the moisture, so the inside stays soft and tender while the outside becomes perfectly crisp and golden. Place the wrapped beef into a preheated oven at 360 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius and bake for about 25 minutes, or until the pastry is beautifully golden and firm to the touch. While that bakes, let's prepare a light and simple side. Fill a pan with water. Add a teaspoon of salt. Cover and bring it to a boil. Once bubbling, drop in a few broccoli florets. Let them cook for just 1 to 2 minutes. We're not looking for mushy, just vibrant green and lightly tender. Use tongs to lift them out and set them aside. When the beef roll is done baking, take it out of the oven and let it rest for a few minutes. Then slice it carefully into thick, generous pieces. The aroma alone will have everyone gathering around the table. Just look at that cross-section. Golden, flaky pastry wrapped around juicy, tender beef and that rich mushroom layer. It's comfort food at its finest. To serve, place a slice on plate. Add a handful of that vibrant broccoli on the side. The combination is just right. The crispy pastry, the flavorful beef, the earthy mushrooms, and the bright green crunch of the broccoli all come together in one beautifully balanced meal. Every bite brings warmth and richness, while the broccoli adds a clean, fresh contrast. I hope this recipe fills your kitchen with delicious aromas and brings joy to your table. Thank you for cooking with me today. Until next time, happy cooking!